Hey, what is up everybody, Blaze for here. Today I have for you guys another video, Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and doing a little bit of guild boss here, and this time we're going to be utilizing the man Makoto. Now alongside of this here, you probably wouldn't have guessed this little combination that we're going to be doing here today, but it's also going to be with Akechi. Yes, you heard that right. The man himself is also going to be coming out into the spotlight. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out a lot. And boy, oh boy, do we have a treat for you. Now, I've been interested on seeing what this man can do. Some of you guys were impressed by how he was actually performing outside of guild battle, but just wait till you actually can see what this character can really do with some others beside him as well inside of guild battle here. So we're going to be going ahead and using a little bit of a setup that looks somewhat like this one. You guys can try to follow along if you want here, in which, hey, I applaud as much as possible. If you got everything that you do need, of course, you can go ahead and use this accordingly. There are going to be some things that are going to be different because once again, I have a 6/6 Ange, so keep that in mind, you guys. I do understand. We can't relate to that. Listen, I'm sorry, okay? I was not going to let the opportunity freaking stop me there, but A0 Ange can still get a lot done here as well, so don't let that discourage you as well. But what we're going to be using for personas, you want to have your wonder looking somewhat like this. This will have you perfectly all good here to at least utilize, and I feel like a lot of you guys should be able to run this pretty darn easily, if I'm being honest here. You don't really need too much into the bag, so surely just keep that in mind here. And yeah, let's go ahead and get inside of this here and test out our best things that we can do. Now, of course, the main guy, or at least the main part of this team, is going to be the man Makoto himself. Afterwards, you want to try and get yourself SP win. If you have a 0, of course, you can very well use that as well. I'll have a part of at least the video changed a little bit for a 0. If of course you don't have if you do have a 1, of course, just follow me word for word. If it's a 0, I'll tell you what you need to use in that point of time. Just keep in mind with that. Now, as for our next one here, I am using the Akechi. I only have him A0. I don't have his actual, or at least his 5-star weapon here. We are using his 4-star weapon. The 5-star weapon will most likely do a lot better for him, of course, but hey, at the end of the day, I was not too interested on getting that, nor do I really need it. So I think I'm just gonna stick with what I got. Then of course, A6 R6 Ange, regular A0 Ange works perfectly fine. Of course, there are some things that you might want to go ahead and at least tweak. That's most likely going to be the amount of at least extra turns that you get on the final round. So surely do keep that in mind. But have everything set up here. You want to copy down some of the personas here. There's nothing really different on this one that you really have to do. I just kept them pretty much plain Jane. As for our Dionysus, this is the way I have them built. You will not have this move here, so try to have at least Terukaja or something like that on your character for a single target buff if you do need it here. That would be really wise to do instead of having this one, because this one is unavailable. Make sure you do at least make sure you do have Rebellion on them as well. As for Nyan here, you definitely want to have a single target debuff, so Rakunda works perfectly, and I think that should be all we need to do to really get this sorted. Your at least slow amount, or at least the amount of everyone should be in turn here. SP Wayne going first, Wonder second, Makoto third, and then of course Akechi fourth. But let's get straight into it. So for our first round, immediately, you guys, we're going to be trying to set up as much as possible with Wind here. So we're going to go ahead and use Wind's third skill, and this is actually going to be on Wonder here. So first things first, use this on Wonder. Boom, get this all knocked out here. This is going to help us out with the crit rate and crit damage side of things, which we will need for that setup as well. Now, once we do have this all good, we're going to go ahead and use our skill 1 with Wonder, making sure we can go ahead and have the fire stacks that we do need and actually amplify our overall damage, seeing that we're actually going to get Undying Truth from utilizing this as well. Now, once we do have this in mind, we're going to go ahead and use our man Makoto's first skill, which is going to set us up for the next round. Then after this here, you want to go ahead and set up the next hit being the second skill for Akechi. This is going to be the one that you want to go ahead and use here, making sure we have all of our stacks in order for at least chaos. So now we got the first turn all done, the defense down here, slowly already setting up. On the second round, everyone wants to go ahead and use Ange's first skill on Makoto. This is going to allow you to get some extra buffs, which you will very well also need here. And you want to make sure you do it at the exact same time, because doing this a little early can mess up your release rotation. So you want to make sure you're able to do this at the same time. So first round, or at least second round here, use the first skill on Makoto. And if you do not have a A1 win, you would end up using the second skill on Makoto. Though if you do have A1 win like I do, you want to go ahead, open up the menu and use the first skill. This is going to allow you to get some extra crit damage out of the deal, so you definitely want to go ahead and have this set up. Once we go ahead and use this, Wonder is now going to use Nyan once again here, and this time we're going to go ahead and use the single target debuff here, setting up the big boy skill for Makoto, making sure he can deal as much damage as possible. Afterwards, we're going to go ahead and utilize the skill 3, dealing some decent damage. And then we're going to use our win highlight on Makoto, which did actually 140k, not too bad actually. We're going to use our win highlight on Makoto. So let's go ahead and pop this on off, making sure we can have this all prepared as well. And then we're going to have Akechi use his third skill as well here, which, remember, as much damage as you deal with your DPS, Akechi is then going to go ahead and try to copy this to some degree and somewhat make it a little bit better. Just depends on his build. So right now we ended up getting 110k out of it. Pretty decent here, especially for A0. Nothing too crazy, but this isn't like our OP round anyways. This is okay, it's all right, and it's mainly just setting us up for the big boy stuff later on. Now that we have this on down, we're going to go ahead and use the third skill from Anj here. Make sure it's on Makoto as well. And then this time we're going to go ahead and use the third skill from Wind as well on Makoto, making sure we get the Elise rotation perfect found and everything's going good with their buffs. Once this does happen, we need to swap our personas back over to our fire persona here. And once this does happen, be sure to utilize what you need to do here. First things first is going to be this Thurgy. Once you swap over here, it's mainly just going to have the passive. That's the whole reason we're swapping to begin with. So don't actually use a move with the fire persona here. You want to go ahead and just swap over to it, making sure we get the actual passive available, then pop off the Thurgy with Makoto. After we pop off this Thurgy here, we're going to go ahead and then use Dionysus actually with our Rebellion, which I did a whopping 300k already, which is pretty darn good here. But first things first, let's use Rebellion, and we're going to smack this on here. And I would like to say Rebellion is definitely going to just go ahead and go on our Makoto. So we got to prop this as good as possible here. Make sure he can deal some really good damage. Next, we're going to use our skill 1, get back set up here, which we did a whopping 600k immediately here. Then popping off with the skill 2 from Akechi. Once again, lowering the defense, which we do want to stack as much of that as possible to make sure we can really do good our next round. So now on the fourth round here, you want to go ahead and utilize Anj's skill here once again. This is going to be the skill 1 on Makoto, giving him a little bit of extra damage dealt as always. So we're going to go ahead and pop this on off. Use the extra turn on actually Makoto as well. So this round, we're going to go ahead and take advantage a little bit of our extra turn. Now, if you are what's it called? If you're a person who does not have a 6, surely do keep this in mind here. You will only have 1 extra turn. You will not have multiple extra turns, so surely do keep that in mind. Now, if you do have, of course, more than this, then you would go ahead and do a little bit more, or at least if you have a 6, then you would go ahead and use both of them and actually take advantage over this here. So first things first, I'm gonna go ahead and actually use this first, and we're gonna pop off our first one. Then we're gonna do this again because we have everything pretty much set up the way that it does need to happen. So I'm gonna pop this off twice. And then for this round, we're gonna immediately set up for Win's first skill. So once again, if you are A1, use the first skill. If you have A0, use the second skill. But you got the A1, so we're gonna use our first skill, making sure we get that crit damage up. Then we're gonna go ahead and use Wonder's highlight. This does not require us to swap at all whatsoever. So go ahead and use Wonder's highlight. Get this nice old buff here from Dionysus. Then we're gonna swap over to at least our fire persona here. Use the first skill. Then we're gonna immediately use the assist here to make sure Makoto gets that nice attack buff as well. So we're gonna pop this off. Make sure we use it on himself. Then Makoto's gonna go ahead and start dealing the big boy damage with this one. This is where you're gonna see a lot of your damage happen here. So first things first, we're going to use our third skill, in which you should be able to go ahead and get one turn out of this. But as you can see, 3 million damage right there. And then of course with this one, you would then be able to go ahead and use its Sturgy, in which we're going to use the damage one here. And then you should be able to use your Makoto's third skill once again. Now, since it is us doing this as well, our things is a little bit different. So we're going to go actually 3 different times with this one. You guys are going to see me deal a lot more than normal here. So 4.6 mil immediately. And then I get to go once again here. And we're going to use this again to then have at least our Akechi then follow up on this again. So boom, 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 boom. Did 4.5 mil. And then Akechi, since we do have him here, I'm going to go ahead and use his skill 3, which since he does have our actual damage recorded, we dealt around 1.2 mil, which really isn't that bad there. So 1.2 mil, looking pretty darn decent there. And now that we are done with this, we can go on to our 5th round. Now the 5th round, immediately pop off Anja's third skill on Makoto. We're still not done. We still have 2 whole rounds to go ahead and do. So we're still going to continue going. Now with this in mind, we're going to use the actual 5th round to use this. Pop off our third skill with at least our, what's it called? Our wind. And then we're going to have our defense decrease back ready. Now this is going to be with Rakunda, so be sure to of course swap over to Nyan once again. Pop off that Rakunda so it lasts a lot longer. And then we're going to actually save our highlights for later. So now Makoto's going to use his skill 1, setting up for that final round. Akechi's going to once again use his skill 2. And in our 6th round, we get to do whatever we pretty much want to do. So let's go ahead and pop this off. And now that that is finished, we can go ahead and set up this final round. Now, that big round was only going to be the 4th turn. It was kind of weird why we were going to go ahead and use it then, but I think it's just the best time to go ahead and do so, seeing you'll have everything absolutely prepped and perfect ready for that big boy damage. Now we have all this in round. Go ahead and use your first skill on Makoto here. Once again, if you are A0, you want to use the skill 2 with Wind. If you are A1, you want to go ahead and use the, what's it called? First skill, which we are A1. So use our first skill. Then we're going to go ahead and swap over to Dionysus using Dionysus's main specialty, which is going to be Rebellion here. Then afterwards, we're going to go ahead and use Wind's highlight. Make sure Makoto gets this as well. Then we'll have Makoto use his third skill, which actually, I'm gonna go ahead and pop this off first. Then we'll have Makoto use his third skill. And follow up with Akechi's third skill here. So boom, we get the 2.7 mil damage immediately. Go and follow up with the third skill of Akechi, in which, as you guys can see, this man does damage, of course, with everyone in lay. And I have to say, after using both of these guys together, it's crazy to see the actual damage that we can get. So we got a total of 286 million here, which could have easily been higher if, of course, I had the 5-star weapon from Akechi and also had more dupes on my Makoto. I want to say so far, the highest we managed to get inside of Guild Boss, which is why I wanted to show you guys his damage outside of Guild Boss first, was I want to say about 4.5 mil. So outside of Guild Boss, we hit 1 mil. Some people didn't find that too interesting, but if you do that with other characters, you also will see the same amount, especially at A0. So seeing him do this much in Guild Boss is absolutely insane. But you guys let me know how you feel about it as well. But till next time, everybody, hope y'all enjoyed it. Peace out.